give me a wave.
Go.
This is an excerpt from Muscote by Kevin Urban in the anthology of Tolerance, available on Amazon. In the year 1822, in the South Pacific, aboard the Emeritus, Alan Markham looked to the front of the ship. There, its figurehead, a sea monster named Muscote, was carved into its prow. Alan gazed beyond and out over the endless rumpled ocean. The waves rose and fell like many gills of a living thing. Its vastness was beautiful, but also a reminder of how small the great ship was. He pulled on a rope along with two other men. His splitting fingertips stung, but he dared not stop. "Raise the mainsail below the first yard," a voice ordered. Alan turned his attention to the first mate, a chiseled-jaw young man of nearly the same age. His button-short coat exaggerated his tall, slender figure. He read aloud from a wooden plaque the setting of the sails for the evening. Alan glanced down at his own meager clothing. A shocking crack rang his skull. Though the pain was excruciating, he knew better than to let hold of the rope. "Stop your lollies," the familiar but terrifying voice of the boatswain shouted. He pointed at Alan with his club, a belaying pin used for securing ropes. "Aye, aye," Alan answered. His head throbbed and his body ached in all places where the salty water entered his open wounds. As they raised the mainsail, Alan rubbed the bump on the back of his head and cautiously looked at his assailant. Zebediah Booth, the boatswain, handled the ship's supplies and was assistant to the captain. Zebediah's round head with thick tufted brows and mutton-chopped side whiskers framed his sunburnt face. He was sturdy and fattened from good eating, but roughened from life aboard a ship. His skin displayed the same roughness as the salted pork the sailors ate at every meal. Captain Neal smoked a pipe and watched from the top of the quarterdeck at the rear of the ship. His short, stout figure was unmoved by the heave of the vessel. Zebediah looked to the captain, who nodded with pleasure. Then he disappeared below deck. The first mate continued to shout his orders. The crew's attention shifted toward the rear of the ship when Zebediah clambered to the main deck, pale and wide-eyed. He climbed the steps of the quarterdeck, nearly out of breath. Alarm expressed upon his face. He whispered to the captain. Captain Neal's eyebrows rose as he listened. He called the first mate, who approached and stood near the steps, looking upward. The same expression of concern grew over him. "You two, come with me," the first mate ordered, after he turned to face the crew and pointed. Two powerful sailors followed the first mate below deck. Zebediah descended the steps and faced the sailors. "The barnacle madness," Zebediah shouted. Every man's expression changed to fright. "Consumptive morbus," the captain announced. "Stay back from him when he's brought topside." "Finish tying down," Zebediah ordered. The sailors resumed tying the ropes, but looked around cautiously. They had just stopped when a hatch sprung open. The first mate and one man climbed out, pulling a rope that descended into the hull. They pulled the rope taut to the hatch's side and strained to lift what it hid at its end. Thank you for listening.